Chautauqua County Health Department Senior Water Resource Specialist Natalie Whiteman here, and we're here in the Ripley Town Hall with Lori Pless, the supervisor for the town of Ripley. And would you like to introduce your folks?
Sure, I'd be very happy to. Good afternoon, everybody. To my far right, I have Andrew Strine. He is our water and sewer superintendent. Next to him is Lee Swope. He's my deputy supervisor. Over here we have Lisa Babcock. She is first assistant chief of our local fire department, and Jason Fisher, who is our chief for the local fire department.
So we're here today to speak to what's going on with some of the mandatory water restrictions that are in effect here in Ripley. Our role as the local health department is to provide guidance for the public water supplies to ensure that they are able to provide safe and reliable water for their customers. Chautauqua County Health Department has been in regular communication with water operators and municipal officials throughout Chautauqua County for months since we've noticed that the dry conditions have continued throughout the summer. The public water supplies that source their water from reservoirs are especially vulnerable while drought conditions exist. In Chautauqua County, there are 3 public water supplies that use reservoirs to supply their communities with water. Those water supplies are Ripley, Westfield, and Fredonia. While we are gathered in Ripley today, customers in all 3 of these communities should be aware of their water usage and take efforts to reduce the water they're using in their daily lives. Regarding Ripley, the town of Ripley issued an official mandatory water conservation order on October 10th. At that time, Chautauqua County was in the drought watch state. Since then, Chautauqua County has been upgraded to a drought warning state. This is a more serious declaration, which indicates that drought conditions are getting worse. On October 14th, town officials and Chautauqua County Health Department staff met at the Ripley Reservoir to evaluate reservoir levels. Following that meeting, town and county officials determined that stronger measures were necessary to safeguard public health and safety. The town of Ripley officially declared a state of emergency due to the critically low water levels on October 14th. The mandatory water conservation order remains in place for all customers within the Ripley Water District. Therefore, all customers, residential and commercial, must take steps to reduce water usage. These restrictions will remain in place until further notice and can be enforced by the town now that the state of emergency has been declared. It is important to note that water supplied to the Ripley Water District customers remains safe to drink. Bottled water donations are being sought from local retailers and suppliers to help reduce the household water use and thus preserve the limited amount of water that remains in the reservoir. Details about the distribution of bottled water will be shared by town officials as they become available. Unfortunately, the lack of rainfall means that water is not flowing into local waterways as it typically does, so the reservoir levels are continuing to drop. Therefore, local authorities are coordinating efforts to increase the amount of water in the reservoir by actually trucking water in and depositing it into the reservoir. The trucked water will be added to the reservoir, so it will go through the water treatment plant, and that will ensure that the water will remain safe to drink. Residents should expect some increased fire truck activity along routes 20 and 76 during this period. Ripley water operators are seeing a difference in the demand for water in the community, which means many of the customers are making efforts to conserve their water usage. Please keep in mind that we do need all customers to make efforts to conserve water to ensure that the water remains available for drinking and sanitation. Town officials and Chautauqua County Health Department will continue to use the New York Alert System to provide updates to residents and business owners on this water emergency, as well as other public health and safety notifications. Please sign up for the New York Alert System by visiting alert.ny.gov. Chautauqua County officials will also maintain post updates on their Chautauqua County website at chqgov.com/news. I'd like to hand the podium over to Lori so she can add her comments as well.
Thank you so much. First of all, I really want to thank the Chautauqua County Emergency Services, the state emergency services, the work that our local officials are doing in our town. These efforts have really gone very well because of the coordination that's existed between them and the tireless efforts of everybody. So thank you so much. We very much appreciate that. Again, I do want to reiterate that our water is safe to drink. We are not in such a critical situation that you cannot continue to take care of your daily needs, but we really appreciate the fact that you've taken all these steps to make sure that you are conserving water. It has definitely made a difference, and we encourage you to continue to do that. We are getting lots of bottled water donated to us, and at this point we are planning to have a water distribution on Friday at our town highway building off of Ross Street, and that will take place from 9 a.m. to noon. We are encouraging our residents to come if they need bottled water. Everybody will have an allowance of 1 case of water at this point in time, and you will have to show proof of residency. Again, that's Friday at our town highway building, and that will be from 9 to noon that we will be distributing water. At this point, I will turn it over to Andrew Strine if he wants to add anything specific about the current water situation at the plant.
So currently, we are doing not too bad. Our local residents have been very helpful with us, and I've got to thank them quite a bit. Businesses have been working with us also. We have gone from approximately 130,000 gallons a day to 100,000 gallons a day. So that is wonderful. This is all just preventative, just getting ahead of it before it gets real bad is the idea behind this. So that's it.
And we would be happy to take any questions if you should have any.
Yeah, I just want to ask, compared to normal levels, right, how bad is this depletion of your water supply? Are there levels that you've seen in your career?
So of course. So I've been here for 10 years. This is the lowest that I have seen. Historically, from what I understand, it has been lower, but we didn't have as many customers at that point in time. So at this point, we're roughly 7 to 10 feet below what we normally run. So.
How much longer do you think you can sustain the things you're working with right now in order to make sure all the residents are getting the water that they need?
So without the water transfer, and if we didn't see any rain, my best guess, can't tell you it's 100% accurate, but would be somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks with constant usage. We do have rain in the forecast, and we are getting the water transfers, so of course that's going to be extended.
Is it just something as simple as rain? You guys just need rain?
Yep, just need rain. That's it. So since our supply is actually from a creek, the creek is actually running very, very small. We're bringing in roughly the amount of water that would be coming in a 3-inch line, whereas normally our service line from the creek to our reservoir is a 4-foot line. So more rain, we'll fill up and we'll be in better shape.
And how are crews doing? Obviously, they've been tirelessly working throughout this whole time.
Yeah, they've been wonderful, good spirits, and easy to work with.
But how many gallons of water are these crews bringing into that reservoir?
So far, I believe we're just under 100,000 gallons today. We just started the efforts. Our goal is 100,000 gallons a day, so we're meeting the goal. A lot of response and very appreciative.
What can residents continue to do or other neighboring counties or towns do to help you guys out?
So residents, just not to use a whole lot of water outside of just normal usage. Neighboring townships, they've been reaching out with saying, hey, if you need help, we're here. So I've been pushing that forward, and that's somewhere in my head to remind me that if I need them, I just give them a phone call.
How many customers do you have approximately on your water system?
So I have approximately 1,800 customers, along with businesses with rotating people in there. So much higher whenever you start looking at that. All right.
I would say, just to add to the idea about, conservation efforts, there are those simple things that we always talk about, shutting off the water while you're brushing your teeth. I understand we all would rather wash our faces with nice, warm, hot water, but now may not be the time to let it get as hot as you want. Just wash your face and get it done. There's steps that we all think about, making all of your toilet flushes count. Don't just put a piece of tissue in the toilet and flush it down. Make these things count, and just be aware of the way that we use water and potentially waste water on a daily basis. There's some small things, here in the Northeast, we're very lucky and fortunate with our water supplies, and we don't typically have to think about conservation in this way, but with the summer that we've had and the drought conditions that we're currently in and the lack of rainfall in the forecast, now's the time to just take those extra efforts and really be in touch with your conservation abilities.